Hello there, PKB AG here with another video, and right off the bat we're going to get started. We have to fix what we did in the last video. Very sorry about that, but I do have a correction. And what I did originally was rank spin, power, pop, and price on based on John Kew's data. Problem I had was that if 3 or 4 models or even 2 models had the same spec, the same spin, the same price, they weren't ranked the same. They were, in this case 13 for a $180 paddle. The last time I had them 13, 14, 15, 16. That's not fair. So here we have different data now. We've got 37 points for the top. We've got a few tied for 50. Let's take a look. Pickleball Apes is still at the top with their Proline Energy S. The HUDEF Viva Pro Gen 2 moves down from 2nd to 9th. The other Pickleball Apes Proline Energy went from 3rd to 11th. But what this also did was bring other paddles up. So now we've got some that are in the $180 range, $200 range, $275 for the gearbox. We've got 3 tied, the Mach 1 Forza, the Ronbus, it's an EV model, and the Power Pro Fusion tied with 50 points. So I feel a lot better with this data. I'm very sorry for what I published the first time. We're still working some things out. Anyway, so down the road what we'll do is try to find some quantifiers for control. That way we can have not just spin or 2 power rankings, but we could also throw in a control ranking in there. Try to find an overall value quotient, maybe incorporate twist weight, swing weight, and go from there. So lots more work to do. Just wanted to say I'm sorry about that first one. Move on. Let's go to the next tab. In this tab, I compare 2 reviewers' data on spin. Braydon with Pickleball Effects did not use numbers for spin. John Kew did. So I bumped these 2 together. There weren't too many paddles that overlapped, but findings were interesting. Braydon used categories very high, high, medium, low, etc. John uses RPMs. But did one translate well to the other? For the most part they did. And I have an opinion of how Braydon did this. But there are a couple little things I found interesting between the data. So I've got these 2 starred. Anything in green I felt matched up very high. But 2 here were listed as only just high, but I felt like they had some of the highest RPMs. So in my opinion, these should have been very high. I'm not sure what happened there, but we're close, right? As we go down, there was also one that Braydon made very high, but John had at 1729. Pretty sure it was the same model. I don't think that was an issue, and I'm not sure what happened there. So very interesting. What I think Braydon did was use very high for RPMs over 2000, high for 1700 RPMs to 2000, medium 14 to 17, and low anything less than 1400. Braydon, if I'm right, if I'm wrong, let me know. People want to know these things. Anyway, we're going to move on. We did a little more statistical things here. So in this test, I tried to group paddles into 3 common groups you see throughout the rankings, the ratings, the websites: power, control, and all court. And I tried to use power as a way to measure if they were truly what they said. What I found was that in my analysis, where I'm trying to make something significant, if it's less than 0.05, my p-value came up quite high, at 0.4. What that means is that the averages between these three groups were not significantly different. Power mean, the power average or mean, 54.48. The control paddles, 53.56, and the all court paddles came in the middle at 54.39. Kind of makes sense. 54.39 in between these two, but they weren't significantly different. Maybe some of these paddles in the listing are miscategorized. I don't know, but it's very interesting. Moving on. Our last test, I just ranked, sort of put the power ranking into three categories: high, mid, and low. I wanted to see if there was a significant difference between the averages in the top power, the mid, and the low power. And I used analysis of variance again with P less than 0.05. I'm sorry, my alpha at 0.05. And what I did find is that my p-value was very low, which interprets to a significant difference between these three categories. So the high power category average was 56, the mid 54, and the low of 51. Now, how does that translate onto the court? Well, the high power paddles probably going to give you, more powerful serves. So what we see here is that anything categorized this way, according to John's data, was pretty significant, and that's what we want to test. We've got some other things coming up. Swing weight, 14 and 16 millimeter differences. I also have some demonstrations I want to do on the court, so hang in there. I appreciate your time. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And next time you play, tell somebody they made a nice shot.